Hey everyone, this is Troy. And first of all, let me say thank you for attending the webinar today. You've taken the first step to really learning the software and learning all the amazing things you can do with Stack. And I think by the end of this, you will be absolutely thrilled with what you can do. A little bit about myself. I've been with Stack for a little over 4 years now. Uh, I've been fortunate to see tremendous growth within the company and just an uncountable number of success stories with the customers over that time. Over the 4.5 years, I've conducted thousands of trainings, whether it's one-on-one trainings or in a group settings. I am extremely passionate about training. This is really where we're going to teach you to make amazing positive changes for your company and your lives. Today we've got a full agenda, so we're going to cover basic what the bid calendar is, how to get started by uploading your new projects. Once that project is uploaded, how we can do a little bit of plan management. We'll go into conducting takeoffs to do our measurements, how we can add markups to the plans, and then also covering reports. So a full agenda, but I think it'd be well worth your while. Let's hop right in. So when you first log into Stack, you're going to come to our bid calendar. Think of this as our home screen. This is where you're going to access existing projects. This is where you're going to upload new projects. A quick overview here. All your projects will appear on the bid calendar here. You can scroll back and forth throughout the months, just like so. If you prefer to see a list view of your plans or your projects, you can click on Agenda and you'll see a list view with the most recent project first. Also, if you log in on a mobile device, say you're logging in on your phone or a tablet, it will default to this agenda view where you can just click on the project and go right in. We also have search criteria, so you can just toggle back and forth throughout time and look for your project, but you can also search for it above. So if we click on search, I can type in the name of my project or the first, 3 or 4 letters of the project and hit search, and it's going to give me a list of those projects right there. You can also search by different criteria. So say that you're part of a multi-user company. You can search for the projects that are assigned to that specific person. And you can also search by statuses. So I know we'll cover statuses here in a minute, but if I wanted to know all the projects I've won, I can put a little check mark and hit search and see all the projects I've won. Or if I wanted to see all the projects that were, that I'm currently bidding, I can search by that criteria. So while statuses are an optional field, there's a lot to benefit from them, and I really encourage that you use those. To access your existing projects, we're just going to click on it. It'll take us into the project. If we need to modify the status or if we need to change the bid date on a project, we're going to do so by clicking this little edit pencil. So I'll click edit. I can go over here and I can change the date. I can change the status. I can update the address if I wanted to and click on update. Or if I just wanted to delete the project out entirely, again, really we give you unlimited storage, so there's no reason to do so. But if you did want to delete the project and start over, again, this edit pencil will take you to the screen and you can hit delete and cancel that out. For us today, we're going to be uploading a new project. To do so, we really have 2 required fields. So it's these top 2 where we're going to enter in the project name, and we're going to specify the bid date. So I can click on this little calendar icon and select my bid date. It is going to always default to today's date. So if it is today, that's fine. Or you can scroll through, back and forth time and assign that project to a bid date. We do have some optional information down below. So if you wanted to specify a bid time, you certainly could. If you wanted to assign it to a specific user, you could do so here. You can also set your status. So this is where I could say, I'm going to bid this job and then come back at a later point and update that status. You can also put the physical address of the site if that would help you. Again, these 2 are the ones that we really need. After that, we're going to go to create and launch. So create and launch is going to walk us through the upload process. If I just hit create, that's just going to put the name of the project on the bid calendar as a placeholder just to remind you to upload those plans at a later point. Most times it's going to be straight into create and launch, and this will start to walk us through the upload process. So our setting here is to choose a local file. So no matter how you receive your plans, whether it's an email attachment or a Dropbox link or a plan room. However you receive those files, you're going to download them to your computer, and then at this point you're going to choose that local file from the computer. So we click on this, it's going to open up a file explorer, and then I can go onto my computer and grab that particular project, hit open. It is a two-step process. The first step is it's going to upload into our software. So we'll see the little progress bar there, also represented by the little pie chart. And then the second step is to hit done. At this point, the software is going to take that individual PDF or multiple PDFs if you had selected and process those through and create thumbnail images of each of those plans. This process can take a couple minutes depending on your internet connection, the strength of your internet connection, also the size of the file. So we'll go back and hop into something that already has, there we go, starting to process through, already has some plans in it. All right, so once the plans are uploaded, we have some couple options we can do as far as plan management. So we give you the different thumbnail views so you can kind of quickly see which ones that you're going to want to do a takeoff on. So, you know, if you've got 100 plans or 200 plans, you can kind of scroll through and see, okay, this is a site view, here's an aerial image. Instead of, you know, clicking through all 200 plan pages, this is just to help you find more quickly the ones that you're going to want to take measurements on. We can click on view. That's going to take us into full screen mode. Once we're here, I can hold down with the mouse button. I can pull the plan around. I can scroll in and out very quickly with my mouse, the scroll wheel. If you do not have a mouse with a scroll wheel, I do highly suggest that you get one. Even a $15 mouse at Walmart will make your life so much easier. But we do have some incremental zoom in and outs over here if you are working on a trackpad. This plans tab is always there, so we can always go back to our thumbnail images just like that. Again, we can open up another one just like so. We can also open multiples at the same time. So as you're scrolling through and you're like, well, I want to see that one, and I want to see that one, and I want to see that one, put little check marks in, click this little open button, and it's going to open those all up here as tabs above. Okay. Once they're in tabs, it works just like a web browser, and we can go in and close those tabs down. Okay, open them up just like so. Other things that we can do on the thumbnail screen. So say that you have a plan that needs a rotation. So say that this one was scanned in sideways. We can put a check mark in here, and then we can go over here and rotate that either to the left or the right. The caveat there with rotating, you cannot rotate plans after you've already started a takeoff or put markups on the plan. So if your plans do need a rotation, you want to handle that first. You can also delete plans at this stage if you wish to. So if there are plans that you know you're not going to want to need and you just want to kind of clear up the canvas, you can put a check mark in the ones you don't need and hit this little trash can icon. That is a permanent delete. Again, we give you unlimited storage, so there are no plan limits. So you are welcome to leave all the plans. If you do want to clean this up for your own personal needs, put a check mark in and hit the trash can, and off they will go. All right. Other things that we can do. Let's talk about auto naming. So the plans here have a pretty good naming scheme, and that's all going to depend on how that file was originally scanned in. And I know that you don't have any control over that, so you kind of receive the plans however you do. They will either be named really well or they won't. A lot of times I will see the plans named the same thing throughout, which is a little frustrating. So we do have an auto naming feature that will help with that. You can zoom in on a plan, and it doesn't matter which plan you zoom into. The auto naming we're going to set it once, and it's going to auto name every plan on the set. So we're going to scroll down to the page number, make it nice and big here on the screen. Right now we're on takeoff. We're just going to hop one over to the left to plans, and then up here in this little gray bar we have a little settings gear. We're going to click on that and choose auto name. We give you some text instruction up here on the left hand corner, but it's really saying just to zoom in to this part of the plan so you can see the page number really big, I'm going to click draw. I'm just going to draw a rectangle around this. Now, you want to make it kind of big just in case there is an AA251.2, you know, a longer one. So you want a big enough area, but you also don't want to touch any of the outside borders. So I'll do one click of the mouse up here. I'll let go. I'm just going to drag my mouse across and double click there. At this point, I can hit start, and the system's going to run through and auto name those files for me. You don't need to wait on it. It's going to do that in the background. And it will change the names here on the thumbnail images just to make them, you know, a little guidance so you can see which ones are the electricals or which ones are the mechanicals or which ones are the floor plans and such. So auto name, pretty cool. Once we're in here, we're going to find the plans that we want to do measurements on. Let's hop into a plan. The first thing that we want to do is set our scale. So you can see that the scale is already set because I've used this plan before, but when you come into a new project, it's just going to say scale, and we give you two ways to set that scale. If you have a known distance on the plan, like here's a nice 18-foot 2-inch section, I highly recommend that you calibrate the scale. To do so, we're going to click on the little green scale box. That is going to open up, and you'll notice that we come to this calibrate scale side because that is the very best way to set the scale. And we've got a foot and inches mark here. Again, you can move the plan page around if you need to get to that known distance. We're just going to enter it in feet and inches. So we've got 18 feet, 2 inches. 18 feet, 2 inches. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm just going to go from point to point. So I'm going to do one click with the mouse here, drag that across, click once there, and it's going to come in at the scale. So in this place, you know, it confirms that we are at a 1/4 inch scale, which is great. Trust me, that's not always the case, so that's why we put the default setting to calibrate. Now, if there is not a known dimension, you're just going to have to go with what is listed. So the architect here said this is in a 1/4 inch. We would click on the scale box. Instead of going to the calibrate side, we're going to go over to standard scales, and we're going to choose that scale from a drop-down list. So architecture is up above, civil is down below, and then we could just choose that 1/4 inch scale. If you do that and you have an idea, at least on a measurement, I do recommend that you kind of verify that scale, and we'll be going through the markup tools. I know I'm jumping ahead just a little bit here, but over here on the right-hand side under our markup tools, we do have a dimension line. And for instance, if there is a doorway, we can click and just see, okay, that door should be around 3 feet. Our scale should be looking pretty good there at a 1/4 inch. So dimension line is a great way to kind of verify a scale. Also, if you're working in the metric world, you can click over here on settings and change your scale over here to a metric, just like so. Okay? Our scale is set, so now we can jump in and do our measurements. So the basic premise behind the program is we're going to create a new takeoff for all of our different measurements that we're going to take. So we're going to click on the new takeoff button and say that our first measurement for today's training is, let's do a concrete slab of this area. And I know this is a small, you know, not as realistic, but I don't want to waste your guys' valuable time clicking around a concrete slab on an entire, you know, high school or college. So working on smaller scales here, but you'll get the gist of it. So let's go here to takeoff name and say that we're going to do a 6-inch slab. Now our measurement type here, we could do area if we just wanted square footage. But to be honest with you, we'll use this volume 2D, which will actually give us the square footage along with the cubic yardage, and I'll show you how. So we're going to go with a volume 2D. With this, we're going to make an area measurement, and then the system is going to prompt us to enter in the depth of the concrete. So I put it here in the name also as a descriptor, just so that you'll know when we get to the report section. Now we could put a description in here if we want to. It looks great in the report section. Again, that is optional. The other thing we could do is change the fill color. So after we draw our slab over here, the system is going to shade that in just to let us know that we've done that measurement. Now the system's going to automatically pick a fill color for that area. We can override it if we want. So most times the fill color is fine, but if we do want to override it, we can, you know, make it this orange color in this case. Once we get this going, a takeoff name, our measurement type, we're going to click on Start Takeoff. And this is where you're going to see that it's going to ask us for the depth of our slab. And so this is in feet and inches, so be careful. Say that we're working off a 6-inch slab. And now we go directly over into drawing mode. So the way our drawing tools work, we're going to do one click, and then I'm just going to pull the mouse over. I'm going to do a click on every turn, work my way around, and then I'm going to double click right there. And that's going to shade that area in for us. If I click end, that'll show you what we've done so far. So over here on the actual takeoff template, it's going to give us a running total for the project, okay? And this is, again, a small little area. So it's showing that we've got 4 cubic yards. If we wanted to hop over to the unit right next door, all we're going to do is, since we've already created this, we're just going to click on the little green arrow here just to reactivate that, and then jump right back into drawing mode. Again, a click to start, a click for every turn, and then double click here. Again, that's going to show us a running total. So let me show you where we can get even more detail here. Hit in there. Again, it's going to show us our primary measurement type, which in this case is cubic yards. So we're up to 7. If I click on reports up here in the green header bar, the takeoff quantity report, that's going to show us our primary measurement type. So again, that's just a little cleaner report for what we were looking at on the takeoff template. If we go one down here to the takeoff summary, this is going to show us our primary and our secondary measurement types. So in this case, we've got a 6-inch slab. Here is our total square footage. Here is the linear footage, so this is the perimeter of each of the drawings. And then here is the cubic yards required for that based on our 6-inch depth. The 2 just means that we've drawn 2 areas so far. If we want to drill down even a little further, we can go to this third report, the geometry by takeoff, and this will show our individual drawings and show how they roll up. So we've got 2 drawings here, and then that is going to roll up to this total of the square footage here, just so that you can see. Awesome. Let's go back and continue drawing here. If we hop back into takeoff, let's say that we are going to do a concrete footer. So let me pull this over just to clean it up. We could, just so that you know, if you wanted to draw underneath here at any time, you can click directly on the little symbol here to get to the submenu. Here we could edit the name or the color, or we can hide it. So you can temporarily hide the drawings and then bring them back with just the click of a button like so, okay? But let's do a footer around the perimeter here. So we're going to do a new takeoff. The takeoff name is always exactly what you're going to be measuring. So in this case, we're doing a concrete footer, so we will call it a footer. Measurement type here, again, we could do linear if we wanted just the linear footage, but let's do a volume 3D on this, and it'll also pull the linear for us as well. So a volume 3D. Again, we could put a descriptor if we wanted to. We could change the line color if we wanted to, but let's jump right into start takeoff. And this time it's going to prompt us for the width and the depth of the footer. Again, be careful here because it is in feet and inches. So we can say, you know, this is 24 by 24, or I could have put 2 feet and 2 feet. And then we go directly into drawing mode. A couple other more things about drawing. So right now, if I click on this little corner, you can see my line is a little bit wavy. If you press and release on the shift key on your keyboard, that will put us in the snap mode and will force the system to draw straight lines. So that just makes it a little quicker. We don't have to worry about drawing straight lines, and we can just quickly move around the building like that. To toggle it off, I'm just going to press the shift key one more time, and now I'm into like free drawing mode. You can go up here and double click on that drawing. Just to show you why we're here, if we are dealing with a rectangular structure, and actually let's hop back in and do that with the slab, would make a little bit more sense for the slab on this area. We can just reactivate this. And then over here, so we default to the polygon, so which is for odd shapes. Now, if you are dealing with rectangular or square structures, the drawing is just a little bit quicker with the rectangle tool. We can click on rectangle. We can do one click in this corner and then drag the mouse across and double click there, okay? So just a little quicker if you're dealing a lot of those type structures. Now to show you what we've done, if we go to end, again, we're going to show our primary measurement types over here, which in this case, we're dealing with volumes. So both of that, and look at that, what are the chances both being 11 cubic yards? But we can go over to our reports to see even more data. So again, takeoff summary report, we can look at our footer, and it's going to grab the linear footage of the run and then the cubic yardage there for us. So we're pulling a lot of information just by doing those single drawings. Let's hop back into takeoff and say that we are doing either some masonry or some brick work here. So say that we want to measure, you know, the wall square footage of this wall to determine how many block or how many brick that we're going to put on this area. So for that, we're going to go to new takeoff and say that we're measuring standard brick. And my measurement type here is going to be a surface area. So what we're really trying to get from the software is the wall surface area to be able to determine the number of brick. Surface area, again, optional fields here. We can go straight to start takeoff. Now the system's going to prompt us for the height of this wall. So we're going to do a linear measurement multiplied by the height. So we can say this is a 9-foot 6-inch wall. And then again, go straight into drawing mode. One click to start, one click for every turn. Work around, we can say that we're just putting a brick wall around this entire unit. Again, I could hit Shift key to toggle just to make it a little prettier. Go across and double click to finish, okay? We hit end. Even though we did a linear measurement here, the system's going to report our primary measurement type, which is square footage, because we were looking for the square footage of walls. So now that we know, you know, we're at 780 square feet to work with based on our 9-foot 6-inch wall height to calculate those brick. Again, if we go to reports, this is going to show us our linear footage here as well. So standard brick, and there is our square footage and our linear run. All right, so that's how we would tackle, you know, slabs, footers, concrete or brick walls. Let's hop in and do some roofing. So if I go back here to plans, I can go into this aerial view. And now this is a Google Earth image, and you're welcome to use Google Earth images. I do have another video in our help section more specifically, or feel free to call in or chat in as well on that. But here is a Google Earth image. I scaled this in Google Earth to be able to do this accurately. And let's do some roofing shingles here on a pitched roof. So a new takeoff. Again, every time that we're going to measure something new, we're going to go with a new takeoff. We can say that this is a shingle roof. Oh, look at that spelling. And our measurement type here is going to be a pitched area. So the software is going to prompt us to enter in the slope or the rise and the run to be able to calculate that area with that slope. So pitched area is our measurement type, and we can go straight into start takeoff. We can say that this is a 512, so it's 512 rise and run, and then immediately go over to draw. Again, one click to start, one click for every turn, and we move our way around the plan. So being a little sloppy here just to be aware of your guys' time here in the webinar. Working our way around, and I will double click to shade that in. So we get quite a bit of information here. I can hover it over this, and it's going to show me here's my pitched area, and show, you know, based on that rise and run. It's also going to give you the flat area as a reference. It's going to show the flat linear or the perimeter, and then also the scale that it was drawn in. So lots of information there in the little hover box. And let's pick up these dormers. So hit end. I'm going to pick up these dormers. I'm going to name it dormer because that's what we're measuring. Again, that is a pitched area, but I know that my dormers are a different slope, so I'm going to create a separate takeoff for those and say that these are done in a 712. Again, hop right over here and take these off. One click to start, one click for every turn, and double click to shade that in. Google Earth images are great not only for roofing, but for paving, re-roofs, landscaping. Google Earth is a pretty amazing and free a thing that you can use. Say that now that we want to measure this ridge right there in the center. Again, we're going to do a new takeoff. It's a different measurement type. This will be just straight linear, so there's no slope here. Straight linear. Hop right on into start takeoff. If we want to change that so we don't want to confuse those pinkish colors, we can make that a green color, start takeoff, and then just take off my ridge. Now my hips are at a slope, so we're going to handle those a little bit differently. Hips, and we're going to do a pitched linear. Again, start takeoff, and it's going to prompt us for the rise and run. So we can go back and enter in our rise and run there, and then go in and grab these. Oops, didn't choose a very big color on that one. Kind of blends right in there. I'll show you how we can change that. Hit end, can't really see my hips there, so I can click right on the icon. I can go down here to edit and be like, you know what, I want that to be a much better color, blue, and now we're good. It shows I was a little sloppy there as well. So here we've got quite a bit of information. Okay, and we took off that roof very, very quickly without ever visiting the job site, which is awesome. Let's go up here to end. And let's hop back into our other plan. Then we can run through our markup tools, and then I'll also run through our right-hand toolbar here. So with this, let's kind of start at the top and work our way down. So if you're in drawing mode, granted this left-hand panel can take up an area of your screen. So say that we're drawing our slabs here. We can temporarily hide this left-hand panel just with this very top icon. So click that. That's going to put me into full screen mode, and I can go do my work. And then when I'm ready, I can just toggle that right back at any time. Okay. Next on the list, this little upload. So if we needed to add additional plans to the project, we could just click this little upload button. Bookmarks, will handle that in the advanced webinar. Here is our incremental zoom in and outs. Again, if you don't have a scroll wheel, that'll get you where you need to be. Our edit. So we have lots of edit functions here. I can go here to the edit arrow. I can click directly on top of that structure. If I just wanted to delete and start over, I could just press the delete key on my keyboard, or I can go up here to delete, just like so. I could also grab any of these green points and move it around. I can rotate it. I can snug up a corner if I want to. I can also add an additional point, so we can see this little blue box following me around. I can click on that and pull, oops, or you can grab the whole thing and move it. Click on that and grab an additional point and add that to it, okay? Or we can delete and say off we go. We can also remove a negative space. So we have a hidden tool here to be able to remove negative spaces. It's our little power saw icon. It's a hidden tool most of the time, but say I was going to remove this bed area. So in a real world, this would be, you know, a parking lot, and we're wanting to remove either a center island, or we're working on top of a roof and we wanted to remove an area for a rooftop unit. I'm going to go over here again to edit mode. Boom, we know it's in edit mode because it is highlighted. And once it's highlighted, we're going to see this new power tool. Okay, so it kind of automatically pops up there when things are highlighted. And then we have our choice of tools. So polygon for an odd shape, or we can do a cut square for a rectangle. Since the bed is a rectangle, we can just click on that. And then the drawing tools work exactly the same. So I'm going to do one click up here, drag that across, double click there, and then the software is going to remove that area and then automatically subtract that square footage and the cubic yardage for you, which is pretty cool. If we wanted to multi-select, say that we drew these two with an incorrect depth, I could go to multi-select, I could click up here, and it's kind of hard to see, but I'm drawing a little rectangle shape up here, and if I pull this down, where I stop, anything that falls within that rectangle is going to be highlighted. So it's going to highlight these both. I could say, you know what, I meant that for that to be an 1/8 inch depth, and I could hit save. Okay. You can also use multi-select to change scale. So say that we completed this entire takeoff and we were like, oh no, we drew it in a quarter. We really wanted that to be in an 1/8 inch scale. Again, we're going to use multi-select to help us there. Hop up here to multi-select. I'm just going to start in the upper left-hand corner and then basically just pull it down and highlight everything on that plan sheet all at one time. Click on my scale box and say, you know what, I really meant for that to be in an 1/8 inch, and that'll go in and change that scale all at one time for you. So very cool there. Lots of editing functions. Markup tools, these are awesome. So say that we wanted to, highlight a certain section of the plan. We can go over here to highlight. This is the good old-fashioned yellow highlighter, and we can just draw a rectangle around here. We can also do different color highlights. So if you want different color highlights to mean different things, we could go over here and say that one's yellow, but you know what? I really want that one to be blue. Again, we're going to use our edit arrow. That's to edit any type of geometry or a markup. Click directly on it and say, you know what? I want that to be blue. So you've got some control there. Next one on the list is our cloud figure. So this is just to draw emphasis to you for areas of the plan. So say that there was something about this little sink here that was really important. You could just draw a little cloud figure around it. Again, that's just to draw your eye and say, hey, this is an important detail of the plan. Please don't overlook it, that kind of thing. Third one down is our call out. So this is for leaving notes. So I can go over here and say, confirm the depth. Oh my, confirm depth, question mark. And just leave a note for either myself, or if you're part of a multi-user account, you could leave this note for someone else. Next one down, dimension line. So this is an awesome little tool. So it's not going to factor into your calculations over here, but say that you just wanted a really quick reference or a nice visual on the screen and you wanted to know, from point A to point B, what is that distance? I can just do one click here, drag it across. I can either double click to place it there, or I can bring it down and then double click here for the placement. Again, it's a great visual on the screen. Text box is really just kind of what it says. Say that we want to add some text here. I could add a text box, type hello, and then I could go back. Again, we're going to use our edit arrow or multi-select, and I could, increase my font size or change the color of that text, just like so. And last but certainly not least is our plan legend. So I can click on this. I can zoom out and I can place the legend anywhere I want on the screen. Usually try to find a nice white space. I don't really have that in this plan. Draw a nice big rectangle. And this is going to show our color coordinating and our primary measurement type specific to this plan. So, in the reporting section and the takeoff templates here, it's always going to be your totality of your project. The legend here is going to show the totality on the plan here. If you do not want the measurements to show and you just want it to be a color only, again, we can go up here and get into edit mode. Once we're in edit mode, we can pull it around, we can resize it any way we want, but we can also toggle those measurements off. So there's a little toggle bar up here. I can say I just want that as a reference only. So that option is available too. Once we have our takeoff done, we have got all of our markups, we've got our legend on there, we may want to print this plan. To do so, we're going to go to this very last icon, this little PDF icon, and queue this up. So the software is going to know, hey, we've got more than 2 plans in here, but we've only done takeoffs on 2 plans. So in most cases, you're good to go. You're just going to queue that up. But say, for example, we only wanted to see this one plan. We can override that and say export that one plan. Once we click that little button, it's going to queue it up here above. This process does take 30 seconds to a minute depending on how many plan pages, and then it's going to queue it up and we can just open that in our little viewer. And now it's got our legend and our markups and everything like that. We can save it to our computer, email it to your customer, print it, do anything that you want at that point. Awesome. So we've done quite a bit here. Let's hop into the report section and go a little deeper here. Hop into reports. Again, our takeoff quantity report, this is just a little cleaner interface that's going to show all of our primary measurements types, and we can throw this over into Excel. We could either print the report here or put it over to Excel and then add our pricing markup, and actually finish out our estimate that way. We can have different options here, but let's look at that in the takeoff summary. Takeoff summary report. Again, we can export this to Excel just like it is, and then say, we're not worried about drop count. We could just delete that column in Excel, or we could clean it up now before we send it over. So underneath columns up here, I can deselect drop count. Again, cleans my area up here a little bit and export to Excel, and then off it goes. Again, this descriptor, if we would have added one, shows up right there. It looks really good. We also give you a default grouping, okay? And there's no setup that you have to do. This is already built into the software. But right now, this is showing our project in its totality. We can automatically break this down per plan page. To do so, I'm going to click on grouping and group by plan name. So this is going to show all of our measurements associated with plan, A251. Here is all of our measurements associated with this Google Earth image. And then if I want to send that over to Excel like this, click Excel now. So it's always going to export to Excel in the same manner that you're looking at here. We also, just so you know, within the software, we'll cover this in the advanced webinar, is we do have the ability to go in and group by any way you want. So if you want to group your data by building A, building B, building C, first floor, second floor, third floor, room 101, 102, 103, 104, we can certainly do that. This is a built-in grouping that requires no setup whatsoever. So, and if I want to go back to the totality, I just click, and then there we are, back to that in its totality. So the just here, create a new takeoff template for every type of measurement that you need. I also want to assure you that we are here to help you. So I don't want you to kind of walk away from this webinar and say, this is it. Or if you have more questions, feel free to call in. We can certainly schedule an individual session where we'll do an online meeting and look at your project. Also, if we hover over this little question mark here, this will show you your assigned account manager, or if you have questions, feel free to call in this main support line. We're happy to help you over the phone. Down here in the bottom right is our little chat icon. You can click that, click new conversation, and then actually chat with us while you're working in the software. It's a great way to get your questions answered. Over here on the bottom left, so over here are like the most common questions that I see come in on chat. And like if I wanted to edit or delete or remove a negative area or even switch to metric, I can click on this. It's going to show you a really quick 1 to 2 minute video. I know you guys are always in a hurry. So really quick videos on here, how to do a specific thing within the software. If your question is not on the list, over here under the little question mark, this tab will also take you to our support section. So if I click this, there is just tons of information here on the website. This how-to video, we can go in here and just scroll and scroll and scroll. There are lots and lots of videos. All of this is searchable. So if I wanted to rotate plans, I can type in rotate and I can see, okay, I've got a quick video on that, and there's also a screenshot available on how to do that. So lots of ways to get in touch with us. The big takeaway that I want is that for you to know that we are here to help you and ensure your success with the software. So I'm very glad that you attended today. I hope that you're as thrilled as I am that you're on board with us and you're ready to take on the world. If you do need some additional help, please do not hesitate to call in, chat in anytime. We are here to ensure your success with the software. I very much so appreciate your time today. Thank you.